Good afternoon, everybody. Me and Abby were talking a lot about Aphrodite, and she's going to be doing like a whole series of Aphrodite on a Patreon page. And myself, she's been kind of giving me a push to do Aphrodite, an actual journey with Aphrodite. So I'm going to honor that request, and I'm going to just quick deep breath in and out. Allow your mind, body, and soul to relax. Allow the burdens of the day, of the week, of the month to be silent, to be at peace, so you may fully understand and fully grasp the message that is being shared with you. I am standing on the beach, and a woman appears in front of me. She's wearing a pink dress, and she comes out of a huge shell, like it looks like a huge clam shell. It's a little cliche, but this is what is being showed to me. I learned never to question what is being shown to me, just to allow it to be. She blows hearts at me, actually, and I catch one of the hearts, and it turns into butterflies, and they fly in all around me, and I start to be lifted up, and they lift me up to the clouds, and I sit down on a bench in the clouds, and she comes up through the clouds, and she still has a beautiful pink dress that's really super long, and she basically asked me to come with her. She uses her finger like this, but in a very nice way, not in like a demanding way. So I follow her, and she smiles at me, and she blows more hearts in my direction, and I grab the hearts, and this time the hearts I can't explain what it's like. It's really hard to explain. Like they're actually turned into like a bubbling spring of bubbles with little hearts in them, and I'm holding my hands out like this, and they're just bubbling up like crazy, and they're bubbling fountains of bubbles with little hearts. And when the bubbles break, the hearts grow really big and poof, and they burst, and they have little sparkles in them, and it's creating all these sparkles all around me. And she's laughing at me, and because I'm covered with gold sparkles. It's in my hair, it's in my shirt, it's everywhere. It's even in my beard, and it's like, you know how the sparkles stick to you, so they're really difficult to get off. So I'm just following her, and I'm watching. She's walking down the clouds, along the clouds, and she's not really going any specific place. She's just walking, and she keeps blowing bubbles, like bubbles, but hearts, and I catch them, and they turn to bubbles, which creates more and more and more. What's the word I'm trying to say? Sparkles, and I just have to keep doing this. It's like a repetitive thing. And I said, and she says, "Why do you keep catching my heart?" And it's like, because when somebody sends me love, it is respectful to accept it. because I know the love from you is genuine. It's not meant to be like sexual. It's meant to be just a sign of true love and not any sexual innuendos to it. And I think, and that's what, and she smiles at me because, and when you think of Aphrodite, there's so much sexual orientation attached to it, which isn't the truth. She is beautiful. She portrays herself as beautiful, but it's because she's beautiful on the inside, and when she shines it out, she isn't meant to be a sexual thing. It's meant to be love. And love is not sexual, even though sex is part of love. But sex is sex, and love is really something entirely different. And this is a message she wants to relay to the world, is that love is not sex. When you make love to somebody, you don't just have sex with them. It's way beyond that. It's way more beautiful than that. And this is what really she wants to stress to the world, is love and not sex. Because sex is overshadowing the world. It's overshadowing the word love. Because when somebody kisses somebody or wants to make love to them or have sex with them, the word love is what they use. I'm gonna make love to you. But they're not making love, they're just having sex, and it's not really the right way of putting it. Because she is the goddess of love, not the goddess of sex. Even though a lot of the times this was misunderstood and actually made her kind of sad that it was. It's interesting because the sparkles are sticking to you and you can't get them off that easily. But it's like, but this is part of the message as well, is that she's stating that love is not something, when you take love into yourself, it doesn't just instantly go away. It stays with you for a long time. And these sparkles, like the glitter that sticks to you, it's like, because love should stick to you. It shouldn't just pass through you and not blow away in the wind. And these specific sprinkles or glitter are very sticky because they get all over you. But it's okay because they're kind of it makes you feel amazing because it's love. It's not meant to be anything else. And actually, every time one of these sparkles stick to you, it makes your heart glow a little brighter. So we're sitting on a bench and we're overlooking a pool, and there's a waterfall, a small waterfall. That's a very pretty one that feeds this pond. And the pond's a big pond. It's more like a small lake. And we're just sitting there, and the sun is on a nice angle, not too high, not too low. And we're watching the birds fly around and eating the insects. The insects aren't bothering us though. And the fish sometimes jump up and eat the insects as well. It's just a really pretty scene. And it's really interesting to watch the movements of the odd fish, but especially the birds. The birds are flying with such grace, and even shows me slow motion birds flying, and it's just she's showing me super saturated detail of how beautiful a bird is in flight, and the colors of the feathers, and the gracefulness and the quickness of their movements. It's very beautiful to watch. And she says this is also a form of love, is to be able to sit in silence and watch nature and be at peace and enjoy what it has to share with you, because that is also a form of love, a love of nature, a love of peace, a love of self, and a love of the ability to be in love with the silence and the beauty of nature. How many people actually do this? Sit down on the bench and enjoy the birds and enjoy the whole scene and the whole visualization of this event, and feel moved by it and expand their love of nature through this and the understanding of what love is. Like some of my most powerful moments were when I was alone and I understood what love was acceptance of everything as it is meant to be, is one big part of love. It is not the only thing, but it is a big part. It's acceptance of everything as is meant to be, including myself. I need to love myself, but I need to love others for just the way they are. Like she shows me two different women. One woman's bigger boned, she has a little bit of a belly, and she's not in perfect shape. And she's not perfect either. Her nose isn't perfect, her hair isn't perfect. And this shows me the other one that's like a goddess. And you look at these two people, and one person might find this other girl, she is still pretty, but she's nothing when you compare them side by side. On the outside, the one, say, to the right is, to me, is what you would call more beautiful in the sense of a 10 out of a 10. And the other one would be like a 6 or 7. But the other one isn't beautiful because she's just a really nasty person. And the other girl that was a 6 now becomes an 8 or a 9 because she is so beautiful on the inside. And she radiates that beauty. And she has a beautiful voice. She has a beautiful way of showing herself, presenting herself, and speaking, and just a very beautiful person. And the other person's nasty and rude. And yeah, she's really pretty on the outside, but very ugly on the inside. But it's also just because you think that that person should look a certain way, that is not love. Because as soon as you put what you think a perfect woman is onto another woman, that is not love. Because you're not accepting them for who they are. You're not accepting them for being a beautiful woman they are, the way they're born, the way they look. If you don't want a person to look that way and to be with that person, and the person isn't perfect, and then you get into all the plastic surgery stuff to make them just the way you want them, that is such a twisted version of love. She actually gets she's physically upset, but she's not angry. She actually finds that very upsetting, that you can't accept a woman's beauty, a woman the way she is, and you have to, and this is just some individuals, I'm not saying everyone, but not accepting that woman for a woman, not accepting her imperfections is perfect, and the way they're supposed to be. And because that's when I went through a lot of things in the last few years, but one of the things I really understood what love is not putting my perfection onto someone else. Because if you think of a woman that has to look like this, that is almost an impossibility that you're going to get a woman that is everything that you thought was perfect. But when you meet someone and you try to put that perfection onto them, that is not love. That is selfishness. It is the opposite of love. When you look at a woman and meet a woman, you fall in love with them because they're beautiful, or there's something about them you fall in love with. You start to grow and expand your love. You start to accept that even what you would say, not necessarily is an imperfection, but what you would say an imperfection is, you start to fall in love with that imperfection because it isn't an imperfection, it is perfection. And that's when you truly start to understand love as well. When you look at a woman's body, if you have a woman's body or a man's body with no clothes on, and you're able to look at every part of them and say, I love every part of that person's body, as well as their mind, their soul, that's when you are truly understanding what love is. And she really loves people that finally realize that. And I have been lucky to finally realize that, the understanding of that, to start to really understand what love is. I'm not saying I'm able to always be that way, but I strive to be. I strive to be able to do that. And that's all you can really do. She closes the book that she was making notes in, and she like does, like, I didn't even realize she was even taking notes, because she was relaying the messages, and in the meantime she was writing them down. And it's like she just smiles at me, and there's a lot of personal things in this, and she just nods and understands that a lot of this stuff cannot be said to the public, which is fine with me. But it's the idea to really cherish an individual for how they were born is a message she really wants to put across. To really love a person for how they were born, the way they were born. And if you're not able to do that, then you need to find somebody you can be that way with. It is okay to fall in love and fall out of love. That is kind of normal for a person to do. But when you fall in love and you meet that person that you're able to grow and expand in love with, and that is very beautiful. It doesn't mean the other person did anything wrong. It just means that love I guess what I'm trying to say is that in order to truly love someone, you need to know when to let them go. It's the better of both. So they both can move on to grow and finally fall in love with somebody that they could spend the rest of their life with. She says, she kind of closes the book. As she closes it, she goes like this and actually jumps up and down and smiles at me. He said, that's it. That's the message that I wanted to share with the world. So thank you very much, everyone. And if you wish to do a service with me, you can visit my website at amonrosawakening.com or visit my Northern Lights page at josephbradleyauroras.com. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great day.